President Trump and his immigration officials have repeatedly claimed that they're focused on going after the worst of the worst criminals in their immigration crackdown. But what we've seen instead in recent months, an ever-expanding list of targets that even includes the most vulnerable population, children. Their tactics have amounted to tracking down migrant children and sorting them into categories such as flight risk, public safety, and border security, ending funding for their legal representation, and ending protections for those already in federal custody. On top of all of this, ongoing ICE raids, leaving young children to comfort their own parents and pick up the pieces. Joining us now, Alora Mukherjee. She's director of the Immigrants' Rights Clinic at Columbia Law School, and Natasha Sarin, professor at Yale Law School and president of the Yale Budget Lab, who has written about the cost of the Trump administration's immigration crackdown. Alora, I'd like to begin with you. Your reaction to the video that we just shared there, the position that children have been put in recent months. What remains to help them? I know you do this work day in, day out, but so much of the funding and the sort of structured network around to support immigrant children is being systematically stripped away. What's left?
It's a heartbreaking situation. Thousands of children across the country are having their families ripped apart. Hundreds are currently in detention, maybe thousands. We don't know the exact numbers. What is left is lawyers who are trying their very, very best to provide pro bono representation to children and families who need help. And meanwhile, hundreds of families have been languishing in detention for months. I'm currently representing children as young as 8 years old who've been detained for more than 2 months in a detention center in rural Texas. And it is an extraordinarily hard time.
For people who might be wondering how they can help, who they can reach out to, because so many people we hear from do feel hopeless in this moment, what would you recommend they do? What organizations, what legal groups can they support?
So there are incredible immigrants' rights organizations that work to support immigrant families and immigrant children. The Asylum Seeker Advocacy Project is an organization that is membership-based and represents more than 1 million asylum seekers and children and families across the country. That is an incredible organization. There are also amazing organizations throughout the country and down in Texas as well. I would also tell all of your viewers, do not give up hope. Your interest in these issues, your outrage, it makes a difference. The Trump administration is now hearing from Americans across party lines that the immigration crackdown has gone too far. Public approval for immigrants being a positive net benefit for America is at an all-time high. So I hope people continue to watch the news that you're covering and speak out about their views and speak out and reiterate a basic American principle. Cruelty against children is not what we voted for. This is not what we wanted when we voted for Trump to be in office.
So, Natasha, these stories are obviously very deeply affecting on their own. If we look at the trauma that's been inflicted upon these children and their families, but especially these children, what do we know about the long-term consequences for kids who are deprived of basic material needs? Because we're hearing about cases where children are in these detention centers, very, very young children. What do we know about how this will affect the rest of their lives?
You know, it's kind of, we were talking before this segment, as a mother of young children, it is just even hard to watch and listen and talk about all of this. But I will say we have a fair bit of empirical evidence, both from the family separations in the first Trump administration, but in general information that we have about children who grow up in vulnerable positions where they're exposed to traumas very early in life. And what we know isn't going to be shocking to any of you or your viewers. These are incredibly long-lasting consequences on, obviously, the parents who are experiencing this type of incredible pain vis-a-vis their families, but also these children who are never going to forget that formative years were spent in these particular situations that seem so incredibly difficult. The other thing that I just genuinely, like, as a mother, it's hard to watch. As an economist, like, I don't entirely understand what the objective is here that we are trying to accomplish. Because, as Alora was saying, like, what we know is the reason why Americans think immigrants are good for net positive contributors to the economy is because that's empirically true. And if the Trump administration was able to deport en masse millions of Americans, what that would mean is it would be incredibly hard to find people who are going to be able to work in critical industries like construction and agriculture. So, like, I am just not entirely sure what it is exactly that this type of immigration policy is meant to achieve.
Well, particularly if we're talking about children, right? If the argument is these immigrants are taking Americans' jobs, which
It's not true, but yes.
You can speak better to that than I can. If we're talking about a toddler, like, in what sense are toddlers a threat to our economic security or national security or anything else?
Well, the Trump administration is trying to send a message. The message is, leave the United States of America. We don't want you here. And this comes at a time when almost all of the major medical associations have spoken out and condemned the detention of immigrant children because of its long-lasting mental health effects and physical effects on children. The American Academy of Pediatrics, the American Medical Association, the American Psychiatric Association, and other medical associations have all said that even brief periods of detention have long-lasting effects on the children who are impacted.
There is some suggestion that Senator Wyden, I believe, suggested that there is an attempt to now collect by DHS and others the DNA of immigrants and their children as well. And I'm wondering if you can speak from a kind of big data collection point of view about how dangerous that is, that information can be used to track people down, families, children, and more importantly, how it can be used in other nefarious ways than simply just keeping track of who's in the country and who's not.
Totally. And that sort of effort we're watching alongside something that we already know is happening with respect to data exchanges between the IRS and ICE with respect to providing information about unauthorized immigrants who pay into this tax system. Actually, your viewers might be surprised to know, pay into the tax system very substantially, like on the order of $66 billion annually, both through their individual tax filings and also through payroll taxes paid by their employers. And for decades, we've been in this situation where the government has been incredibly clear to these populations, and in fact, it's the law, that this type of information is not going to be used for the purposes of immigration's types of activities unless there is an ongoing criminal investigation that is at play. That is obviously not the case for the millions of families that we're talking about. And so what's happening is not just sort of the particular circumstances of data sharing and worries about data privacy in narrow areas. What you actually are doing is fundamentally breaking the trust of the American people about the ways in which their data is going to be used going forward. And I worry a little bit that this is kind of like a genie out of the bottle situation. Like, how exactly do you then rebuild trust with these communities and with Americans writ large about the ways in which their data is going to be collected and ultimately deployed?
Elora, the Trump administration, as I understand it, is also trying to roll back the ability for women and girls to apply for asylum while they are abroad, or basically to use gender as a factor in the asylum application. Could you walk us through what that decision is and what its significance is?
Absolutely. So just this week, the Board of Immigration Appeals issued a consequential decision. And that decision says that the combination of a person's gender and nationality can no longer be the basis for granting a person asylum in this country. And that combination of factors has been recognized for decades as a basis for granting people asylum based on gender-based violence claims. And this is an
So like a
very
woman from Afghanistan could not be granted asylum simply because she's a woman, and going back to like Taliban rule would obviously be oppressive and potentially dangerous for her life.
Where she and her daughters may not be able to go to school, may not be able to access healthcare, may not even be able to leave their homes and walk down the street without a male family member accompanying them. So they would essentially be in house arrest for their entire lives.